Okay, so today is just me, and yeah, we'll be doing the Celta Vigo review today. 2-0 victory for Real Madrid in that game. It was a comfortable victory for us, and it will be a shorter video as a result. I mean, there wasn't much to talk about, but there are some points I'll obviously go through. It's gonna be a shorter video, just me today, but we will nonetheless do everything that is needed. Left back, we'll start with left back, and Camavinga was fantastic once again, and this is something we've come to expect of the guy. He's been fantastic at left back ever since he's shifted since the World Cup, and a conversation has to be held about him potentially playing ahead of Mendy. Personally, against Man City, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you play Mendy because if he's available for that game, because of the fact that you are going to be peppered. You're going to be absolutely peppered, and in terms of that, you're going to need Camavinga in the midfield, in my opinion. Mendy at left back is too valuable defensively to just let go of Camavinga, because as much as I love Camavinga at left back, and he was fantastic once again, it provides us with some horrible problems in the fact that every diagonal that City are going to do, which is a lot. City love doing diagonals. Camavinga, I'm not sure he knows how to defend them, and that comes only with experience as a left back, which Camavinga obviously does not have, and Mendy does have. So that's going to be the main challenge, and that's for me is the reason why I would go for Mendy. Obviously, come the actual game, I would still put Nacho ahead of Camavinga in that game, but in the regular La Liga game, I think this proves exactly why Camavinga should be starting pretty much every game. Like I remember, last season when we were talking about Fede and Camavinga in terms of their game time, I said Fede should be playing everyone in 2 and Camavinga should be playing everyone in 3. Now it should be both should be playing every game at this point. The occasional rest obviously, but they should both be playing pretty much every game. And I think Camavinga, he was magnificent, because what he does, he drags space, he uses up space, and he helps everything that is around him. He helps the defense. I mean, that transition where he sprints back, covers a lot of ground on, I think it was Aspas, I'm not completely sure, but I think it was Aspas, and he just covers so much ground and then just slide tackles him, and that was just fantastic from Camavinga. Stuff like that defensively helps so much in the transition. No one else can provide us that. I don't think Mendy, after so many injuries, has that pace anymore, that recovery pace that he once used to have, and that's where Camavinga's better than everyone else in that defence. Then you look in the midfield, he helps with the midfield because he tucks in sometimes, and plays like Ceballos. Ceballos absolutely loves it because he can get forward. At that point, he can get forward and he can almost play like a number 10, even because he knows that Camavinga's in behind him and helping covering that space. Just to make sure that he can go press after, which is great for Ceballos and the type of player that Dani Ceballos is. And in terms of Vinicius Junior, Vini had a quieter game today. It wasn't perfect from Vinicius Junior, but he still got an assist. And I think Camavinga opened up so many spaces. He helped drag out the defenders for Vini to attack. And although Vini didn't exploit that in other games, there has been proof that Vini exploits that in abundance. So it was really nice from Camavinga at left back as ever. It was really nice from Camavinga. So let's move on to the midfield, and then Dani Ceballos. I mean, I mentioned him shortly there, but it was really nice from Dani Ceballos. Really enjoyable performance from Dani Ceballos. I mean, going forward, that ball into Vini, it was delicious. He knows that Vini can beat any defender to that ball, and it was perfectly weighted. Dani Ceballos has played these games, and I don't think since January, since he's come into this team as a starter, as a player in this in this rotation, he hasn't put a foot wrong. In that Mallorca game, I think it's the only game he was quiet for. The rest of the games, I think he's been fantastic, and as a result, I would say you've got to renew him. I mean, there's been stalling in that contract. I think he has been summoned in terms of for a contract negotiation. So I really hope Dani Ceballos gets a new contract, because he's been really good for us. And I think in terms of other games as well, for these La Liga games, it's so valuable to have these rests for Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, where they can have this rest because Dani Ceballos is going to match that performance level in these games. So, he was really nice, and every time he did put a couple of foots wrong. He kept on, sometimes he lost the ball, but the good thing about Dani Ceballos is he works so hard to win the ball back. He's a very hard worker, and having that ability on the ball and off the ball is so valuable for us because whilst he isn't as good as Toni Kroos or Luka Modric on the ball, off the ball, the guy he's a workhorse. He works non-stop. He's just an absolute maniac in terms of his running power. And I think in terms of that, he's a really valuable piece for us. And I think if we were to lose him, there's been a lot of talk of Bayern Munich and Juventus. I think it would be such a loss because if you could see exactly how he fits into Bayern's stylistic play, how he fits in with Juventus. He would be fantastic for Juventus. He would become a starter for Juventus. It's something where you could say his strengths could absolutely just strengthen another team, and I think we need to keep him as a result. And I think Dani Ceballos is going to be valuable for us in the coming years because Modric and Kroos aren't going to last forever, and we know this very much. And when that happens, it's not going to be sufficient for us just to have Camavinga, Valverde, and Tchouaméni in the midfield. We're going to have squad pieces, some squad depth there as well. So, someone like Ceballos, someone like Gabri Veiga, who's on the opposite side, and I think he played quite well, Gabri Veiga, in this game. He didn't do too much in terms of the attacking side because it was very much a counter-attacking side Celta in this game. But at the end of the day, I think you need these squad pieces in that midfield, and I think Dani Ceballos, he's already here. You've got to give him the minutes now, and you've got to give him that new contract because I think the value he could provide for other teams would be detrimental to us. So let's see what happens with Dani Ceballos, and I really hope he does get that new contract. But speaking about new contracts, Toni Kroos got his new contract midweek. Fabrizio Romano has been reporting that. It's really good for us. He's had a really good year for Real Madrid, and I think it would be nice. He's trying to surmount that 10 year, and he only needs that Copa del Rey trophy to finish his trophy collection at Real Madrid, which is, it's unusual for a player like Toni Kroos to not win a trophy. So we're going to try and win that trophy in a couple of weeks' time. But let's talk about another player who had a fantastic performance here. That was Marco Asensio. He was fantastic once again. It's been a stretch of matches probably since that Barcelona game and the Camp Nou, where he scored the disallowed goal, which right now that's devastating because Barcelona have dropped a few more points since then. If we had won that game, then we would have been a hell of a lot closer, and this La Liga title will not be such a breeze for Barcelona. They do play for Athletic today, which could cut the gap a little bit more. Could cut it to 8 points, which would be really nice. Athletic have been the best team in La Liga since the turn of the year, but Asensio's been fantastic. He's been truly fantastic. This guy is scoring goals. He's assisting at a rate which he's never done before, and this is mostly off the bench. He's playing for that contract, but I hope it doesn't end up that we gave him that contract. We're going to give him the contract, no doubt in my mind. He deserves it so much. He's been fantastic, but I hope he continues after it because this is something that we haven't seen from Asensio since before the injury, since before before 2019-20, we haven't seen this from Marco Asensio, which is him actually putting in the performance rather than just the goals and assists, because his dribblings looks better than in a long time, since that 16, 17, 18 Marco Asensio. His dribbling's fantastic. His pace looks really nice. He's working really hard now, and it just seems like this guy, he looks like he's restored back to his best version, which Marco Asensio in 16-17 was absolutely fantastic off the bench. He was such a useful squad depth piece. I really hope this isn't just a purple patch. I really hope that this is permanent, because Marco Asensio in this form is deadly. He's so valuable as well. You can't get a squad option. You can't get a bench player, so like one of these players off the bench, another squad option who's going to provide this level of goals at this high level, and you're not going to get that from anyone else. You could sign Marcus Thuram, you could sign whoever you want. You're not going to get that level of goals and assists like what you can get from Marco Asensio, and therefore you have to give him that contract. I don't care if you give him a longer length of contract from 4 years. I don't really mind, but you've just got to give him that contract. So, yeah, that's it for Marco Asensio. I mean, in terms of other players, Fede, you've got to play him in as many matches as you can from now to the end. Benzema, I think Benzema was quiet. He's quiet in this game, but you just got to give him a rest. When you see these run of games where he's playing poorly, you've just got to give him a rest. At that point, give him 1 game rest, then let him go at it again. Vini, like I said earlier, he was a bit poor in this game, but at the end of the day, got an assist. So stat padding is fantastic. It's perfect to me. I don't really care, to be totally honest. If in these matches, as long as we get the win, then if Vini has a quiet game, I don't really care, because we know that Vini's going to perform in the big game. So I'm fine with that from Vini, and to be totally honest, I'm fine with that from Benzema. If you want, he's got a real Pichichi chase going on right now against Lewandowski. Lewandowski's slowed down so dramatically. He's got a realistic chance at that. He's 3 goals behind Lewandowski. It might be different after today's game with Atleti, but he's got a real chance at that. Elsewhere, we play Nacho right back. Nacho's all right crossing wise. And it's invaluable to give Dani Carvajal the rest, which is big for us. Militão was good, got the header. That was a bullet header, fantastic. Did make a few mistakes defensively, but Celta weren't there to punish Militão in this game. And then Thibaut Courtois made a big save. But apart from that, he had a relatively easy game here, just another night for him. I think that was pretty good from everyone there. The grass, I mean, I don't want to sound like Xavi right now, but the grass looked quite poor on TV. It looked quite poor in this game. Something has to be done, because it's just like I saw a report this morning. For 5 times this season, the grass has to be changed. I mean, that's not normal. So I don't know what the solution is for that, to be totally honest. I'm not a grass expert, to be totally honest. You might have to consult Xavi on that, but whatever. I mean, you've just got to make sure that this isn't a problem coming into the future. I don't think it, it didn't affect the performance in this game, but, if this happens against Man City, maybe it benefits us more than Man City, but you just don't want it to be a factor at the end of the day. So let's see what happens there. Gabri Veiga, thought he was quite good. Yeah, nothing exceptional from the kid. He's definitely had better performances, but it was realistically at times it was just him and Iago Aspas at points. Frankie Terbi came off the bench, Solari as well. It was just not really that good from Celta in attack. What I've noticed from Celta, they didn't really have much pace in attack, which is quite poor from them. The attackers that they do have are quite, slow, meticulous attackers who, yes, they can punish, other defenders in La Liga. We've seen them have good games, but, against Real Madrid, when we're going to play a high line, they're not there to punish us. So, I think they weren't in a position to hurt Celta Vigo in this game. Elsewhere, I mean, apart from that, I don't think we have anything else to comment on. It was a good performance, solid performance, an enjoyable performance. Most importantly, I mean, like I said, Barcelona at Atleti. No, it's Atleti at Barcelona today. Atleti are hot on our heels as well. They are the best team in La Liga since the turn of the year. I mean, they've been fantastic. Griezmann's been fantastic, and I think in this game this could be a really tight one against Barcelona. I think there is a very good chance Atleti come away with 3 points, because in the reverse fixture, Atleti deserved to win that game. In this fixture, I think Atleti could definitely deserve to win this game. So let's see what happens there, because that's a really intriguing game. One that I think both teams could reasonably win. Apart from that, Monday evening, obviously Laporta made some comments about Real Madrid, and I think it was just so unnecessary from Joan Laporta. I think there was just no need for him to make those comments about Real Madrid. It's something about Barcelona. Why do you have to bring Real Madrid into it? And I think the response from the social media team was justified. I mean, I definitely think that Florentino Perez had this on lock. I think that he had this ready, these clips, these things, and I think it was just under his command where he could say, "Yep, okay, fine, just edit it now and release it," because it seemed too perfect to have this, and it's actually fantastic. I mean, it's amazing how Marco or us didn't have this locked and ready in their newspaper, and they didn't release this years prior. But it's so refreshing to see this, because at the end of the day, we've had this leveled at us for years now, where it's Franco's team, Real Madrid's Franco's team, and it's just been boring at the end of the day. And so this video, I think the Barcelona fans can finally shut up about for Franco's team. I think it doesn't change much at the end of the day in terms of anything footballing wise. It doesn't change much, but it's quite intriguing and it's quite funny. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, that is it. It was a shorter video today, obviously. Less to talk about, but we'll be back in the coming weeks. Sean will be back as well. Hopefully Jabari will be back in a couple of weeks as well. We've got Man City coming up, Copa del Rey coming up, but yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.